Hey, Kev, before we get
There you
into
go.
some high school football, how's your Washington Township soccer team looking?
No, the Minutemen are going to be looking good this year.
Yeah?
I'm telling you. I think the core of this team has been around for a couple of years. You got the core of this team being guys that have played at a high level on their club team. So I think let's put it this way: Shane Snyder has been very blessed with the amount of talent that has come through that program. I want to say probably in the last 10 years. So, another sectional championship, should be the goal. I'm sure that it is. And, maybe we'll see them, playing on a Sunday at Kane in, late November, December,
Nice.
something, whenever that rolls around.
I know it's early, but maybe another playoff rematch with EHT. The Eagles are off to a pretty good start.
All right. Well, we're only 1 week into things, so obviously we got a lot of soccer to play. But no, this township team is, like we've talked about in the past, about good teams and championship programs and things along those lines, and the cycle of high school sports and this cycle of Washington Township for boys soccer has definitely extended more than just the 4 years. So they're in really good shape, and I think they'll continue to be in good shape.
Coach Pete Lambert of EHC is probably like, "Whoa, Sully, slow it down, man. Don't build us up too much. We're trying to build something here."
Yeah, can't be hexing people already.
Well, they had that big group of seniors 2 years ago and really got hit hard by graduation last year. But they got some pretty good young players coming up.
Well, that's as long as you can keep these guys together and they you can be extremely talented as freshmen and sophomores and still you're going to take your lumps. But if you stick together and quote unquote follow the process, trust the process, maybe good things happen when a little bit of extra time and effort is put into things.
So, Kevin, lay your extensive high school football knowledge on us. I know you've been bottled up for about 4 or 5 months here. Let's have it.
Well, let's just put it this way: the season has not started in a great way so far. Let's just put it that way. 0 week. It's like 95 degrees outside,
Yep.
and we got some games. We get a few games under our belts, and then we look forward to this week. This weekend now, and it's a full slate. Everybody's playing, and then the skies just open. So it's I'm looking outside right now. It's still raining, so it's going to be another wet one today. I think that the Thunder and Lightning is out of the picture, so we'll probably play at most places. But you could even have some games today where on these grass fields that are just too soaking wet, and schools don't want to take a chance of ruining these fields. It's the first week of the season. Maybe we play tomorrow or even Monday. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep our fingers crossed, but I know there's going to be some good games out there today on the turf, and we'll really get the season going.
Now, Kevin, this is your first fall season with NJ Advanced Media. A little different animal when you're trying to cover all of South Jersey and really keep yourself informed. How have you gone about that process?
Yeah, like you said, this will wrap up my first full year there, but it is the first fall season with football, and and for anybody who takes a look at the website, and I hope that they do, you will not find more coverage of New Jersey football top to bottom than what's there. It's just I went through basketball season, I went through baseball season, but football is a whole different animal, and there is so much material on there it'll make your head spin. So, I'll be covering the West Jersey Football League along with Bill Evans, and basically the two of us will handle the second biggest conference in the state. Super Football Conference up in the north is 143 teams, I believe. West Jersey this year, I believe, is 93. So the two of us we'll tackle the West Jersey Football League. We'll have some help with some part-time guys, some stringer guys, and we'll continue to bang out the coverage and bang out the material from West Jersey. And I think so far so good, and we're looking forward to really giving the reader out there everything they can handle. And it's a challenge because there's people don't realize how much time and effort actually goes into all this stuff. And let me tell you, there will not be a quote unquote off day probably until the second week of December. So we're looking forward to it. I'm definitely thrilled to be doing it. I'm definitely pleased to be doing it. And given the circumstances I had gone through prior to jumping on board with these guys, I'll take it. So we're looking forward to a great football season. And again, I think South Jersey's going to have its fair share of some really good teams. I think there's a couple teams right now that we have in our state rankings. St. Joe is in the top 10. Woodrow Wilson is in, I believe, number 12 this week, and and then there's some other teams that are kind of tinkering and waiting to kind of see if we'll see how they do, and if they can crack into the top 20 in the state. But it's going to be a fun time, and like I said, we're looking forward to it.
It's funny. I was at a networking event about 2 weeks ago and ran into a young lady who works for Tilton Fitness Marketing Group, and hey, what's your name? And she told me her last name was Zadalis. I'm like, you related to Joe Zadalis? She's like, Joe? I'm like, everybody knows Joe Z. Come on.
Yeah, there's 7 of us. Joe's part of the crew that handle the football up and down the state, of full-time guys. So, hopefully people are jumping on board and taking advantage of the information that's out there.
I actually cut my teeth under his tutelage way back when at the Asbury Park Press when I was a stringer there, just out of, not too long out of college.
And you survived.
Yeah, man. Mostly.
Yeah,
mostly intact.
Going strong. I hear you.
A little less hair, but,
That's all of us, so that's not a big deal.
So give us some, I know we're only in week 1 here, and give us some teams, some players to watch. I know you had that big list of 75 top players in New Jersey. I was looking over that, and interesting to see 2 of the top 10 players are running backs for South Jersey, and really just some great backs. I mean, you talk about Jada Byers from St. Joe, and the Borquette kid at Delsey. Man, that kid he's a full grown man. I mean, he was awesome last year as a junior. I don't know if he had 2,000 yards, right around there, but what an outstanding back. He's tall, he's rangy, and really strong.
Yeah, and Aiden Borquette from Delsey, he's going to go to Harvard. He's had a handful of offers. He had a handful of opportunities at Ivy League schools. So obviously he's getting it done in the classroom as well. And here's a kid who rushed for over 2,000 last year, set a school record. And in that offense that Delsey runs, in that wing T and option, whatever they call it nowadays down at Delsey, that the quarterback dictates everything, and Aiden obviously is the beneficiary of those reads by the quarterback. And like you said, he is a big kid, and obviously a kid who's put some time in the weight room and really developed his talents. And I think he's can he rush for 2,000 this year? That may that's obviously a difficult thing to do, and people now know who Aiden Borquette is. If they don't know, then they're not really not paying attention. But here's a kid who's really the heart and soul of that football team. So I think he's in for another good season. If he doesn't rush for 2,000, I think maybe anywhere between 1,500 and 2,000 is probably where he's going to settle in. And I think that would be a really productive season. But obviously at Delsey, it's about winning championships, which they've done so often. So I think that's the main goal. And then you brought up Jada Byers, and oh my goodness, Jada Byers is, if there is one player, I think in the last, I don't know, I want to say Kevin Harvey at Paulsboro goes back to 1994, and I've always said he's been the most electrifying player I've ever seen. Jada Byers has a chance to be the Kevin Harvey, I think, of this era, of this cycle of high school football right now in South Jersey, because the kid is just an electrifying back. He's got speed. He's got quickness. He hits the hole. He gets to the outside. He makes things out of nothing, and he plays defense, and he returns punts.
I was just going to say that they throw him back there on punt returns, and the special teams coach is like, "Oh, geez, come on, man."
I mean, you watch him return punts, and there's, if a coach has done his homework, there should be no way the ball should be punted anywhere near Jada Byers, anywhere. And I distinctly remember a game last year where, they punted away from Jada Byers twice, and they didn't punt away from Jada Byers a third time, and next thing you know, he's in the end zone. So, the kid obviously is a talent. He's not the biggest kid in the world at 5'7" and maybe 165, maybe 175, but the kids got talent, and it's undeniable. And Paul Sacco, he's been around obviously long enough, and has had talented kids. He knows how good Jada Byers is, and he's not a dummy. Paul Sacco will find ways to put the ball in Jada Byers' hands. Not every play, but I would say a good portion of the time. So I think given that offensive line that St. Joe has this year, obviously I think one of the best lines pound for pound in the state, Jada Byers could have himself a whale of a season, and maybe he's a 2,000-yard rusher when all is said and done.
Kevin, real quick before we let you go, give us some kind of sleeper teams that we should keep an eye on. Maybe a team that was around 500 last year but has a nice graduating or nice group coming back that didn't graduate. Who are some teams you're looking at that can maybe say, this might be a team to look out for in October?
I think right now one team, because you mentioned 5-5, a team that jumps out at me is Williamstown. Here's a team that was 3-7 2 years ago, 5-5 last season. And, all those kids are back. That sophomore class, this senior class, a lot of those kids played as sophomores and as juniors and took their lumps over the last 2 years. And I think they really learned a lot from that experience. So Williamstown is a team right now that I think, a lot of people have high expectations for. And I think that they're a team that, can find its way. And, they navigate this early part of the schedule. They're in the American Division, which is absolutely a minefield this year. But if they can navigate that, maybe one loss in the division, I think Williamstown is definitely a team that, come later in the season, you might see, putting together itself a playoff run.
Good stuff. As always, Kevin, we got to get to your boy Mark Tribble here in just a couple of minutes, but we appreciate the time, and I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about here in the coming Saturdays.
Hey, absolutely, and you give your new producer there give him an opportunity to kind of settle into the seat a little bit.
He's a Rutgers grad, and he's kind of starting out his career, and we're happy to have him.
All right, it sounds good, Sully. Hey, listen, I look forward to talking to you guys on a weekly basis, and we'll catch up again next Saturday.
Sounds good. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.